All right, welcome back, everybody. So Gauteng residents are being urged to significantly cut back on their water usage. This is because the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, which supplies water to Gauteng, has been temporarily shut down for inspection and maintenance. The project supplies water from dams in Lesotho to the Vaal River system. The Water and Sanitation Department says the shutdown will last for 2 months and says there'll be no water transfers to Gauteng during this time as the tunnel will be drained. So for more on this story, we're joined in studio by the department's spokesperson, Sputnik Ratau. Good to have you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us, Leanne. Good morning.
So should we be worried as Gauteng residents? Are we going to be affected adversely by this?
Leanne, this is a planned shutdown. So there's a lot of work that has happened in anticipation of the shutdown, which means that there is no panic, no need for panic. There is no need for someone to start thinking, am I going to be without water or anything?
Yeah.
Water will still be available, and we are not looking at any adverse impacts on the system as well as on the people of Gauteng.
So just to understand this, why have you decided to go through this? Why are we shutting this tunnel down?
It is a necessary operation. It is a necessary part of the operation in terms of what we need to do to make sure that the tunnel is in perfect working condition for as long as it has to be. Because you must remember that if we don't do inspections, we will not know whether there are any defects along the tunnel. And therefore, the idea is to do inspections and look at whether there is any need to do maintenance work on the tunnel itself. And that is the reason, and that is just an operational thing that we have to get into.
That has to be done. I know that every 10 years it should routinely be done. However, the word is that Free State farmers in particular are the ones that may be affected adversely by this, particularly close to Bethlehem. Talk to us about this.
Yes, there is a part of the Free State that's going to be affected. In essence, not that there will not be water, but that there will be a reduced supply. And that is around the 3 towns of Nketwana and I think I can read the other 2. I just forgot what they are.
Yeah.
But basically, what it will mean is that there will be a reduced supply and a reduced flow. And therefore, we are saying that there will be specific times when they might be able to abstract, but they will be very restricted.
Yeah.
And as well, we are saying, let us not over-abstract in that time. Let us not hoard the water, because otherwise it puts a strain on the system anyway, if we do that.
Yeah. So just again, I know that in the Gauteng area, I read it, but just to confirm it with us, we're still on level 1 water restrictions, or is that something that was implemented due to this maintenance?
No. In fact, there is no.
So there
are no water restrictions on the system at the moment. The restrictions, if I remember very well, were localized in Johannesburg and in Pretoria.
Okay.
But those were municipal restrictions.
And that's got nothing to do with the shutdown. It's got
nothing to do with the shutdown.
Yeah.
And so there are no restrictions at the moment because we do not see any stress on the system right now. The Vaal Dam itself is on 54.7%, but the integrated Vaal River system, which is a combination of the 14 dams, is at about 76%.
Yeah.
So that does not call for any harsh measures to be taken.
If we look at the levels of the Katse Dam, though, and this is a bit alarming, and let's perhaps look at the effects that this is going to have on us in South Africa. So if we look at levels, the figures that I saw was it's sitting at around about 16.9%. It's situated in Lesotho, right?
Yes.
And talk to us about the supply coming from there and how it's going to affect us.
How the project is, Leanne, is that water is captured in different areas of Lesotho, of the mountains, and driven towards Mohale Dam. That's the one. But Katse Dam is the main dam, out of which then the water comes into the tunnels that bring the water into South Africa. And yes, Katse Dam is at about 16.9%, as you correctly put it. There has been continued drought in the areas of Lesotho. That is the one thing. But secondly, we haven't seen the amount of snow that would normally allow for that thawing of the snow to be able to recharge, in essence, the resources that then feed into the Katse Dam. So that is a combination of factors. The issues of the drought that has been in the region have also affected Lesotho. At the moment, yes, we are concerned about the levels of Katse Dam, but we are still receiving water from the project itself, as per the treaty.
In terms of the Vaal Dam, how are the levels looking there?
The Vaal Dam itself is at about 54.7 as of this week, whereas the integrated Vaal River system is at 76%. So the system itself is what ultimately serves Gauteng. So we are in a good space at the moment, but it doesn't mean that we should not be cognizant of the fact that the temperatures are high, we have not had the early rains, and therefore we need to really look at how our consumption patterns happen.
Yeah, we're really hoping for some rain, I must say. We just, every time I look outside, I see the heavy clouds and hope that it's going to happen, and it just doesn't.
They dissipate.
And then it goes away, so that's not boding well for us. We know that industry is supplied by this water project, so it's quite a worry for them, I imagine, through the Lesotho Highlands Water Tunnel. Rand Water, Sasol and Eskom, how are they going to be affected?
Look, Rand Water ultimately is the one that supplies all of us. And they still draw water from the Vaal Dam and so on. So their operations have not been affected, as I was saying. So at the moment, we just need to be cognizant of the fact that we are going to have the 2 months where we are not going to have flows coming through. And therefore, we need to just be a bit more circumspect in the manner in which we use water. But we haven't had a reason to reduce availability to our industries, as well as even mining and agriculture in the Gauteng area, but in the eastern parts, obviously, of the Free State, where you have the low flows which will occur. That is exactly where things are going to be a bit tricky.
I want to move off this issue for a little bit and talk to some other issues that are affecting the water and sanitation in South Africa. One of the big things coming through, and I'm going to focus on Hermans Wild because this is a major talking point right now. We saw a report coming out from the CSIR basically confirming that water consumed by residents of Stinkwater in Hermans Wild is not suitable for human consumption. What's going on there?
Yes, the issue of pollution within, especially the Tshwane Metro, is a cause for concern.
Huge concern.
The Temba water treatment plant, which ultimately supplies the people of Hermans Wild with water, is affected by pollution coming from Vaal wastewater treatment plant, which is not operating optimally. And that is something that we've been engaging with the city of Tshwane over time. And the CSIR report that came out was as a result of an agreement that we had that we will have samples that we will take together and be sure that we deliver to a particular laboratory that we would have identified. That the results thereof are not going to be in dispute because both of us agree it's the same sample tested by the same laboratory, therefore that the results must apply to both of us. And that was also working hand in glove with the South African Human Rights Commission. And those results have confirmed what we have always said, that the water is not consumable. But what is continuing now is that the Human Rights Commission has taken a decision to say they are going to have an inquiry in the Tshwane Metro to look at all the wastewater treatment plants and how they are operating and how they are affecting water supplies, especially water at source. So that we can be able to get to resolve these issues. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at this situation's been going on for years, and we know that the department, or it was government actually, the ANC in Tshwane, went into Hermans Wild. They bottled about 120 bottles of water. They then tested it, and they were going to come back with results. And I mean, a lot of the I don't know about those results. Perhaps you can help us on those. But the reality is that it's been said that consuming the water in that area, you know, you could get a host of illnesses. In fact, it could be fatal for infants. How does this continue? I mean, people's lives are at risk here.
Probably, Leanne, it's best for me not to talk about what the ANC did, but for us as a department, that one of the things that we've been doing as a regulator is doing the testing of that water, is looking at the operations of the Vaal wastewater treatment plant. And we've been saying, and I think there are a number of directives that we've issued to the city of Tshwane. We've even gotten to a point where we are close to getting into a court case because of those activities. Because what we are finding is that over time, and especially before the Human Rights Commission got involved, over time we were not agreeing as to what the next steps should be. And it is correct that because the water is not fit for consumption over time, there could be an impact on the health of the people. And therefore, what we would want to see is actually the city of Tshwane getting to do what they have given us as a business plan, which we have asked them to revise in terms of how they would want to look at bringing Vaal, as an example, to optimal operations. But when you look at all of Tshwane, it is not just Vaal. You also have Baviaanspoort wastewater treatment plant, which is negatively impacting on Roodeplaat Dam. So it's a number of issues that are actually not helping how we actually have to operate, even in terms of the intergovernmental relations framework, which is not helping us to reach consensus and agreement.
All right, Sputnik, we'll have to leave it there, unfortunately, but we certainly do want to continue looking into this story and following up on it constantly to see that the situation is fixed up for these residents. So, Sputnik, thanks for talking to us. Sputnik came in, he was speaking to us really about the planned shutdown of the Lesotho Highlands Water Tunnel. We've been told that it's not going to affect Gauteng water users. This is really where the area that this is provided for, and that contingency plans are in place, but all should go well. But just be vigilant when you are using water. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this.